What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with your host Comp and
$160. You sounded really like, what's up, everybody? Like all cheery.
I'm chipper. It's 2016. It's the future, Danny. How is it?
It's the future.
It's the first episode of the new year of the Hardy Construction. Ho ho ho! The future's here. Yes, 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 yes. We're gonna go vote for Trump. It's gonna be a great, great life.
Shush.
So anyway, what's our film today, Danny?
Martyrs, the remake, the American one.
Yes, I decided to fuck myself right up the ass this episode. It's Martyrs 2015.
You know when you were trying to become a martyr.
That's me. I was gonna. Believe me, my eyes were rolling up to the top of my head while I was watching this movie. Martyrs 2015. A woman and her childhood friend seek out revenge on those who victimized and abused them. Oh, them? Wow. Who wrote this logline? Obviously, somebody who didn't fucking watch the movie. Directed by Kevin Getz and Michael Getz. It takes two guys to gets it fucked up. Based on the original film by Pascal Laugier, the French gentleman. It's written by Mark L. Smith, so fuck him. That's the guy who...
Oh wow, this guy...
Oh, yes.
Did something with Twilight. That explains it.
Oh, and you know what else he did? He also wrote The Revenant, which is the film that is going
that's
for...
the one that's out right now. You were telling me,
with Leonardo DiCaprio that's supposed to get the Oscars. I hope it doesn't win now, just because of this movie. I hope Leonardo DiCaprio loses because of his association with this writer
of
this
film. The Oscars already happened.
No, that was the Golden Globes. But anyway, quick review of The Revenant. Okay film, but it's basically, imagine like a live-action Goofy cartoon where like Leonardo DiCaprio as Goofy and he's just falling down and getting hurt every 3 seconds. It's like a Warner Brothers cartoon film.
But he's still perfectly fine.
Yeah. By the end, he's up and talking and he's fighting Bane. So it's an interesting film. It's fun movie, but like as a best film of the year, I really don't understand. Anyway, Martyrs. Of course, this is the remake of the classic film that I myself loved, which is probably
it's like your favorite. Or
it is
one of
my
your favorites.
it is my favorite horror film of all time, which is Martyrs, the French film, directed and let me see, I think it was written by Patrick. I just said his name. Pascal Laugier, which was a French horror film that followed in the new wave French horror sort of movement that they had in 2008, 2007. So that year, it was written by Pascal and directed by him. The original film, which we have reviewed in the past. Did you like it? I remember I think you liked it.
Yeah, I liked it. It's not my thing.
Okay.
I'm not into like super violence and realistic violence, but I did like it. It was a good movie.
But you admit that the violence was pretty realistic in that film, Martyrs.
Oh yeah, no, it was.
The
fucking movie, yeah.
If you want to hear our full review of that film of Martyrs 2008, you can just look through our episodes link at the top of our Tumblr and also on our YouTube channel. But for me, quickly about the original Martyrs film, my favorite horror film of all time, just for the way that it was a movie that switched genres every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and it was
there were like 3 movies in that movie.
It was a film that I saw only once. It was one of those movies where you watch once, but you don't forget what you saw. You know, that kind of film. And enough for the fact that it still is my favorite movie. And I've like favorite horror film. My other favorite like science fiction fantasy movie would be like The Fifth Element. So I'm very like leaning towards genre films when I have a favorite where it's like guilty pleasure. But Martyrs is one of those films where like, whoa. And like my favorite cop drama is Memories of Murder. So I have very specific tastes in films. And Martyrs fit it really well as a horror film. It was something that bothered me. And I know like when I was watching this film, I was like, maybe I should sort of, watch a little bit of the first film so I can remember a bit of it. But I knew exactly what happened. I knew scene by scene.
The whole time. And like this movie to me felt like, you know, like when they'll have like those crime shows and it'll be like cheesy reenactments.
Yeah.
Where it has like some weird
unsolved mysteries
thing going on.
Yeah.
That was kind of the feeling I got throughout this, and I wonder if I would have not felt that if I hadn't seen the much better one first,
Yeah, it's because this version of the film, it's neutered compared to the original one. Completely neutered. It's like without teeth. And I'll get to why that is. But Martyrs, it is fairly fairly close to the original plot of the beginning of the of the original film, but then it diverges within the last half an hour and
they cut out they add a whole thing that wasn't there, and they cut out a whole thing that was there.
Yeah, what they decide to do is they decide to have Martyrs suddenly become You're Next halfway through the end of the film, which is where they try to introduce now a femme fatale who saves the day at the end, which was not even close to what happened in the original film. And it sucks that we have to compare two films, because obviously when they remake a film, they're going to try to do something different. There was no reason to remake this film, honestly. And
there really isn't. It's an American obsession with fear of subtitles or something. I don't get it.
And they obviously remade the film with about a fourth of the budget. And why that's even noticeable is because it's produced by Blumhouse Studios. So those are the guys who did The Conjuring and all those other films. But The Conjuring looks pretty good. But for the most part, what I listened to Jason Blum, who originally who had a hand in, I think, what was that ghost movie that we see, Paranormal Activity. I believe they had something to do with it. I could be wrong, but Jason Blum had a hand in that somehow. Yeah, I think they released it originally. And he's a producer. He's actually an interesting guy. I listened to the Bret Easton Ellis podcast, which is the guy who wrote American Psycho. He has a podcast where he interviews people. And Jason Blum is a producer that I think he says he gives you $5 million to make your film, but that's it. And you got to give him a pitch line, and you got to explain everything that happens in the film. Luckily enough, in the original Martyrs, they explain what the whole point is of the martyr system in the film. But
I don't know. This movie was angering me, and I was rolling my eyes.
Oh yeah, no, me too. I mean, it should have affected me way worse than I thought it would, but I was trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. Sort of like when we saw Let the Right One In, the remake of Let Me In, or I forget which name it is.
Remake.
It was a decent remake, and they added just tiny tweaks that I thought were, actually superior, as in the serial killer stuff. The film itself, the original film, is beautiful. There's a European sensibility about it. And the remake was a good remake. I mean, I'm not going to shit on it. I actually enjoyed it.
But if you did shit on it, would there be corn in your shit?
Probably blood. And then I'd have to go get it checked out. But anyway, so this remake of the film, Martyrs, how does it start out, Danny?
It starts out pretty much exactly how the other one started out, with the little kid,
Lucy,
being tortured as a little kid or whatever, and then she's running away, and that's exactly how the other one starts. But then from there, it just diverges completely.
I gotta be honest, the IMDb, we didn't even introduce who the actresses are in the film. It's Troyan Bellisario, Caitlin Carmichael, Kate Burton, and a bunch of other people. There is one guy that I definitely know from other stuff. I think it was Toby Huss.
Was it the bad guy that was?
That random bad guy. He's definitely been in a lot of things. And for a second there, I thought he was the guy from American Horror Story. You know, that guy who plays all the.
He actually reminded me of. I thought it was from Game of Thrones or something. Toby Huss. That's who we're talking about.
Yeah, Toby Huss. He's been in a bunch of films, and he was in he was in I'm about to pick out Anger Management, the TV show, but nobody fucking saw that show.
I've never seen that. I've watched the movie.
He's been in Reno 911. He's just been in a lot of stuff. Once you see him, you're like, okay, he's one of those actors. Anyway, he's not even that important to the plot of the film. So the film starts out. The film starts out with Lucy being chained up to a chair, just like and I don't remember a room by itself with lit up sheets or something like that in the original version.
It was a whole bunch of rooms in the original version.
Right. Anyway, so there was just some. Yeah, I don't know why it was special for her to be in one little room with a fucking cloth around. Anyway, she breaks out and she's running down the fields trying to get some help, and she does get some help, and they start adding in cops and stuff, which I do think was in the original one as well. I'm trying not to completely. I don't think
there were really cops in the original. I'm trying to remember.
I think there was. It's just anyway. What I will say about this version is there is some camera work and stuff that's pretty interesting for what it does. Like when they're the two young. I actually would have rather had watched if they'd done a whole prequel with just the little girls in the film, because that stuff was to me more interesting, because I knew what was coming up and I knew that they would totally pussy out with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, even the monster that her hallucination monster.
Yeah.
Like, it was so much cooler looking in the other one.
And they turned it into like some kind of ring cheap monster in this one.
Yeah, it's like there were no special effects in the first one. I mean, there were, but it was like all
practical effects. And here, like, I knew as soon as, like, in the beginning of the film when she opens up the door and shoots the guy, you can tell it was a digital gunshot. And I was like, oh my god, like, is that why this movie's $5 million? You can't afford a squib with fake blood? Like, what the fuck is the problem? Anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
so the film starts out with Lucy obviously getting out, and they bring her into a St. Mary's, like, home for, like, fucked up kids or something or whatever.
No, it was an orphanage. It was
an orphanage. And, well, it was called St. Mary something or other, but it was an orphanage. And, you see these kids' friendship kind of grow within the first 15 minutes of the film. I thought it was actually a little bit longer than it should have been. But, I mean, there's some interesting camera work, and they did show, Lucy getting frightened by the creature. Which I always thought was a manifest. And the thing is, what sucks is watching this film, having watched the original, is what's going to happen.
It's basically like just totally watered down.
Yeah, you're watching, just like Danny said, you're watching a reenactment of the original film by people
like one
on
of those
YouTube.
Cheesy crime dramas where it shows like shitty actors with like some weird blurry camera effect or something.
The best one is when it's the people portraying themselves in the reenactment. If you've ever seen those, I remember when we did Jeepers Creepers.
Those are awkward.
When we had talked about Jeepers Creepers, and I was talking about the case that it was originally based on, where the couple had saw that guy dumping the body in the lake or something, and the actors were playing themselves, and they were like probably the worst actors on television ever. But I guess they probably got back home and they're like, "Oh my god, honey, you gotta watch me on TV." He's like that and stuff. He probably wasn't even Southern. Anyway, the creature in this film, like in the original movie, when you first see it, you have no idea what it is, and so we're completely biased with this film. So if you want to watch the film blind, I wouldn't recommend it. I would just watch the original French version.
I would say watch this and then watch the original French version, because then maybe this would be decent if you hadn't seen that, and then you'll be blown away by the French version.
Yeah, because this does keep to sort of like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But the fact that I saw that coming is severely affects.
I saw a lot of it coming. Even the parts that they changed, I saw coming.
Oh yeah, definitely. When she becomes Rambo at the end, you're like, oh, she's gonna kill that guy that way. She's gonna kill that. Oh, the shotgun under the bed. Of course, she's gonna get that. Stuff like that. Anyway, but they totally toned down the violence in this. But going back to the parts where they're little kids in the beginning, and the part where in that little what is it? Is that called a? It's not a merry-go-round, right? What is the name of that little?
Ferris wheel? No, that's not a merry-go-round. I know
it's like a go-round. Yeah, it's similar to a merry-go-round without the horses and stuff, and the kids kind of swing on it, and at least they give some sort of nice visual cue to the ending to kind of link back to them looking skyward and going to heaven. I guess I assume what that means. But it's still stupid compared to the original version of the film. We're going to be jumping back and forth when, like, in the original version, when Lucy, there was a sequence when I was watching Martyrs, and I was like, oh my god, this is a horrifying movie. And and I knew exactly the point where I fell in love with it because it became such art house fruitiness. It was the part when Lucy was skinned alive. Oh, but of course that effect was done way much better in this one.
Oh,
no. When she was actually, they took her skin off. I remember she was tied to the rack and she had no flesh except.
Anna, you mean?
Oh, Anna. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Anna was the one. See, you see how this version fucked my head up already? When Anna in this version is much better effect. Lucy in this version has much better effect than Anna did in the original, right? So much money that they spent on not showing that whole skinless body, right? I mean, it was much better, right? Anyway, so in the original one, what got me loving the film because it became totally art house is when Anna was tied up and she was completely flayed except for her face, and she's looking skyward, and the camera just slowly goes into her eye, and the deeper and deeper we go into her eye, we start seeing the cosmos and the galaxies, and then we start seeing the lights of the heavens and stuff like that. And the film just, like, without explanation, I mean, just goes into this other dimension in her mind, and we're seeing, I guess, her mind traveling through another world. And that's what I remember, that moment right there. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm remembering it. This is an American movie, so we have to dumb everything down and assume that the viewer is retarded, because they probably are.
Yeah, so this version, they just show this version, they keep Lucy alive in this version. And so Anna doesn't have to go through any of the exploits of that. This gives a reason for Anna to save Lucy, which is so stupid, and it's like it takes away the bite of the original film, where like at least with the French, their horror films, basically nobody really survives their films.
Yeah, well, they're realistic.
Yeah, they're realistic. They're realistic and nihilistic.
As realistic as you could imagine for that type of thing.
Yeah, because in reality, a lot of bad people win in the end. And we're not trying to say, oh, that's so much better, you know. That's it. But as a film, it was a lot better. I will say when the massacre of the family at the beginning, when Lucy goes in and slaughters the family.
Yeah,
at
this
least
version or in the other version?
This version, and we're only going to talk about this version from now on a little bit more.
Okay.
But in this version, when she slaughters the family, at least that was closer to the original, but it was less violent. And the kids weren't as.
What is going to happen? I mean, it's not as if us being exposed to that violence is going to make everyone go crazy and start killing. We're already doing that.
I know, and plus the violence, they toned it down a lot, because I remember the kids actually looked a lot younger in the original version, which made it a lot disturbing, and it gave the audience like a cue to be like, oh shit, you know, this girl's a psychopath, because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And the kids were younger looking, and the kid in this one was like fucking 25, and he was like, I'm 17 years old, and then he blast him.
You don't even know, like in the original, you don't even know that the girl shooting them is the same girl in the very beginning until you find out later.
Right, and when she shoots the young daughter, the daughter actually is injured but makes it out, and that makes it more intense, that because we're just thinking we're seeing a kid. We're thinking we were watching some kind of fucked up version of Home Alone, like the little girl might get away, but the psychopath kills her too, you know what I mean?
Home Alone.
You know what I mean? All these movies do Home Alone, and you're just like, if the French had made Home Alone, you know, you would have seen the kid's head like on the top of the fucking fridge at the end of it. But yeah, but then Lucy, you know, Lucy does what she needs to do. She kills the whole family, and she feels like this specter of that woman, that sort of mutant woman that's like chasing her down, which looked a lot better in the original one, because she looked sort of like she was like crawling on the stairs all fucked up. It was really disturbing, the original one. And
I don't understand why they couldn't have made it look good in this.
In this one, they make a woman and they digitally alter her face so her jaw opens like The Ring or some sort of shitty.
I swear to God, like, we need to stop CGI now. It's enough. Like,
that's why the movie's $5 million, and that's why we got that great effect of the girl burning alive at the end.
But for $5 million, you could fucking make 1 million practical effects.
I guess so, but I mean,
you really can, though. I mean, I've seen people like ABC's of Death. Their $3,000 budget, or $6,000 a budget for each one, or something. Yeah, but I mean, comparatively, how great was that special effect of the girl burning alive at the end? That was amazing, right? I mean, it was so believable, that girl burning alive. That she literally. That actually wasn't that bad, but ABC's of Death, though. So like, it's like a $5,000-$6,000 budget, whatever it is. It's like nothing.
$5,000 per each film in that movie.
Yeah, for each film, but. I mean, then you look at, like, that Z is for Zygote or whatever, and the fucking effects are insane. Like, they're all, like, really, really well made for such a little amount of money. So there's no excuse why
you probably got to think about which countries they were in, too. Because to think 5,000 in wherever country they were was probably a lot of money to them, you know what I mean? Anyway,
maybe,
so...
$5 million, you should be able to fucking put somebody in a fucking scary suit and have them climb around. It's not hard, like... Come on.
So there's a big divergence in the middle of this film. I actually thought the girl playing Lucy was really good in this version. I thought she was actually a very good actress.
Yeah, I like the actors.
I think that's Troyan Balisario. I wasn't as so like impressed by the girl playing Anna, who was Bailey Noble, but she didn't really have much to do other than look scared for the most part and scream a lot.
But she killed people.
Well, yeah, at the end, but I mean, it was like robotic. It was like Charles Bronson also killed people in his movies, and he didn't really have to do much, but you needed Charles Bronson, you know what I mean? But I thought the Lucy in this one was a very good actor. I mean, they got to deal with what they got to deal with script-wise, you know what I mean? But in this version, what is the difference in this movie from the original?
Well, they add this whole thing with them as little kids, which was kind of cool. But
they keep bringing it back and forth, right?
Yeah, they didn't do anything really to Anna. They
leave Lucy alive,
Lucy dies,
basically.
They get Anna, and now they torture her.
Wait, in the original one, was Lucy killed, or did she commit suicide? I forget.
She committed committed suicide.
She committed suicide.
The monster killed her,
So that's what's hinted to in this one, but she actually survives her suicide attempt. And
and then she's like, they decide they're going to keep torturing her and tell Anna all about it for some reason. And
a big weird subplot of this film, which they got rid of in the original version of the film, is Anna had like it was hinted that Anna had like a lesbian obsession with Lucy. And that's why she was sticking around her for so long, and that's why she did so much for her. Here, she's just sort of like this milquetoast girl that's her friend, and she'll do anything for her friend. She didn't even really believe Lucy that, in this version, she doesn't believe Lucy what any of that shit actually happened to her, or the extent of it.
I don't think she did in the first one either, actually.
Right,
I remember she was trying to help the mom escape.
But she stuck with her because she was gay for her. You know what I mean? That gives a completely different reasoning for a character to say, if you're in love with someone and you've known them forever, you will stick by them, I assume. You know what I mean? In this one, she just kind of seems like, okay, we were friends for a long time as kids. Now let's remind the audience that we were friends as kids. Let's show it every 15 minutes to show that, we were really friends. And the cops keep, interrogating Anna about Lucy. What did she say?
Friends with somebody that fucked up.
That's very nice of. Well, Danny, to be honest, Danny, we have been friends with people. We're not friends with any of these. Well, they're sort of all both fucked up, but we're not friends with those people anymore. So I guess we are horrible friends, right? I guess we're the ones that were bad. So. Anyway, so Lucy survives in this one, and to a point, to the end of the film, and they suddenly start doing some sort of like the Bourne agenda, or the Jason Bourne movies, where this girl's so powerful. Okay, well, she becomes like some sort of super soldier character.
Oh, right.
Lucy does, in one sense. I mean, Anna does later on, but Lucy is sort of like, she's the one. She's the Neo of getting hurt and not dying. You know what I mean? It's that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
true.
What? Another thing that they also altered, which was sort of interesting in this version, is that they, when Anna actually finds the torture chamber downstairs, in the original version, she finds this woman who's completely emaciated, incredible special effects.
That helmet on her head.
Right, this woman who was like basically tortured and she looked like horribly scarred. It was amazing practical. She was disturbing to look at.
It was really fucking dark. I still think of it sometimes.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, like that movie, the original version of Martyrs made me think about life and death. Like literally made me think about, because that was the whole point of the film. Was it makes you reflect on life and what is the point of life and what happens after life. It made me think about mortality, you know what I mean? Because the movie was so dark, and it wasn't trying to be dark like, oh man, we're so edgy, we're trying to spook it. It to me, it felt like there was something deeper. There was a deeper meaning to it. I could be just because of my interpretation, but in this one,
because you're an asshole.
Yes, but in this version, I was more like, nah. I seen it already, and I don't have any feelings towards this. There's a lot of like cheap, weird cut edits in this. Lots of close-ups. You don't really can languish with the image. You can't really stay and watch the image. Where this
it didn't really like pull me in. Honestly, I kept getting distracted.
And that's the thing, is we've seen the original, so we're watching it, and
do you think so that's it, or do you think it's just not that great a movie?
I can't. It's a hard thing to say. It really is a hard thing to say because
I've seen remakes of movies before and still enjoyed them. Like the Thing remake, I appreciated it. Like, I could see its flaws.
Right? Yeah, no, I could see what you mean. But the thing is, with the Thing remake, that was like a prequel remake. Really,
but either way, I mean, it's the same fucking thing. There's a monster. It's taking people over at the end.
They changed that woman who was like tortured, and they turn her into like a 12-year-old girl who doesn't look as tortured in this version. She just she maybe had a little dirt on her face. That's it.
Yeah.
It's a bit more disturbing that it's a younger girl that's being tortured like that, and she's running around. But
feeding them in the original was like so fucked up.
Yeah, and they pussy out completely with the torture sequences. They completely pussy out, because in the original one, when Anna is chained up and she's getting, it's like literally 15 minutes where the point where like I don't want to see this shit anymore. It's like that bad. Like how you saw Hostel or something, and Hostel was basically the torture porn movie of torture porn movies when it came out.
A little watered down even from Martyrs.
Right, the worst thing that happened in Hostels when they cut that guy's Achilles heel and he had to like crawl across the room. Like I was like, oh, Yeah, I know it's pretty bad. But in this version, they just like they imply that a drill is being used on Lucy, and they
electrocute her.
And they electrocute Anna. In the original one, it's 15. It's like 10 or 15 minutes, no, maybe 10 minutes straight of Anna getting her ass kicked, and I was like watching it, going like, did they really kick this girl's ass? Because there's a scene, and it still sticks to me in my head. If you ever watch the torture scene, you can find it, I'm sure, on YouTube, or just watch the movie, just watch the original film. Anna, there's a guy who just keeps coming in, and there's a part where he punches Anna in the face, and as she's sliding, like as she's falling down, he connects with her head with a hook, like he punches her right in the head as she's falling down, and it looks like it connects, like that looks like somebody actually getting their ass kicked on film. And I was like, God damn!
What are the rules in France? Are you allowed to legally beat women?
Beat women on film? And there's some guy with a beret and a huge like French bread eating it, laughing in the background. You hear that music? But I mean, it was fucking brutal, that film. And I think maybe that's what Pascal was doing, like making you feel bad for watching these people getting their ass kicked. Like, it could be wrong.
No, you feel like dirty.
Yeah, it is a dirty feeling film, and this one, it's so sanitized. You're like, shit, I've seen worse stuff on Hannibal, the TV show. You know, I've seen worse stuff on TV. The implication of doing something to somebody else, they're like, oh, it's a lot disturbing. Like, no, it's not. It's, you know, I've seen you've seen horrifying real life people getting killed, and the CG blood is so bad. I was looking at the part when, after he electrocutes Anna, that guy.
It's corn syrup and food dye.
I know, but in this,
$5 million, they couldn't have dropped $200 in corn syrup.
In this one, it's digital blood coming out of her nose. I looked at it and I could see the blood was floating in outer space over her face. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with the blood?" I was like, it took me out. I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It's literally corn syrup with red and blue food dye at the end. Like, it's not hard to do. Chocolate syrup works. Like, you don't need money to do this.
And also, the woman who plays the, I don't know what her name is here. The woman, the evil woman. You know the evil woman in the original one who had that whole sort of. She sort of looked like a weird.
She reminds me of the lady from Poltergeist, the original.
Right, she looked like her. She in the original one, the lady sort of looks like some sort of weird fortune teller or something, and she had this weird, mysterious air about her. She had these little like blacked out shades on, and she had that turban going on, or that headdress going on.
Yeah.
In this one, she's just some like corporate looking woman.
She looks like Hillary Clinton.
She does, actually. maybe Hillary Clinton, this is based on her, but she's like so matter of fact in this one. In the original one, the lady, there was something more sinister about it. Like the people, I don't remember if the people were even dressed. I could have sworn all the people were dressed in black in the original one, but that could have just been my thinking about it.
I don't remember the other people, but she was definitely wearing like a turban and shit, I remember.
Right, she had a headdress on it. But anyway,
and those big giant bottle glasses.
They have this whole explanation scene with the older woman talking to Anna about Lucy's superpowers as a person can get their ass kicked, but just her mental faculties can't live up to snuff, I guess. Anyway, they, like any standard horror movie villain, they say, let's bury her alive. Why?
Right.
What's the point of burying? Just shoot her and then bury her and that's it. Whatever. She escapes by some fucking open drainage ditch. What they do to Lucy in this version is that she's been dead in the original version. In this one, they cut off a square off of her back. And in the original version, what did they do to Anna in the original version?
They took off all of her skin.
Yep. Basically, all she had was her
except her face.
Except for her pretty face. And the thing is, the actress was thin in the original version, the one playing Anna. So when they put that body skin on, like where she just looks like she's completely like skinless, I mean, it looks like it's probably one of the better practical effects I've ever seen in a film.
You know what's weird? I'm on IMDb right now, and it's not saying the names.
I know, me neither. That's why I was trying to guess on who it was. But yeah, she in the original one, the practical effect alone is just worth watching. I mean, it's a heavy movie to watch. Honestly, you're gonna be like, Jesus Christ, watching it. But it's worthwhile. It's much more interesting than this film.
What is our rating?
Wait. Let me get a little bit more into this. How dare you do that?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, I did hate the fact that Anna became Superman and started killing everybody. That's why I said they turned it into Your Next, where she becomes like this superhero.
Except Your Next, it's way better.
Of course, no. I like Your Next. I hate that they tried to turn this into Your Next. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
version of You're Next.
Exactly. Anyway, so it all leads to this finale where Anna's walking around with a gun, and there's like 20 people in the room who can easily disarm her if they just jump on her, and they're all scared. There's some sort of weird priest. They could all take her down. They don't do it. Lucy is stuck there in the on that sort of weird crucifixion. She's looking up. I did like that final shot with the two of them dying in each other's arms, but that special they had to fuck it up digitally by turning Anna's eyes rolling up in her head. Like, could the actress not roll her eyes in her head or something?
Was that digital?
Oh, it was completely digital because it's.
I mean, I remember behind the scenes for Memoirs of the Invisible Man with Chevy Chase. There's a scene where you see through his head, like he's wearing makeup, and you see through his eyes. And they had to like put these giant blue contacts that were like super painful and covered his whole face. And I remember like thinking like that's so freaky. So I'm just saying, like, if they did that for a movie with Chevy Chase, you would think for a movie like this they could like do some kind of contact lens or something.
No, because it happens within the shot itself. So I doubt they could like literally put like lenses in her eyes mid-frame. Like, it just pauses really badly, and then like her hair is different. Yeah, but you can see the unnatural movement of her irises like moving weird. And like going up in her head, and I was like, well, did her eyes just blank out? But no, I think they're supposed to roll in her head, and it's just poorly done. It was just like, I mean, compared to the original one, like this is like a fucking 4 or something. But my rating for this film itself, well, fuck it, it's a 4. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It really is disappointing. The only reason why I keep it even closer to a 4 is the closing shot with them on that merry-go-round device, and leading into the sky and stuff like that. Yeah. The kids stuff is good. It's close to the original with the family stuff, but it's not, and it moves fast for a film. I'll give it that. It moves pretty quick. I remember feeling the original movie was like slower, but was good. Well, but it's still a good film. Yeah. It's a way better film, and I think it was actually much longer. I could be wrong.
It's really not. It was only like an hour and a half or something.
The original one too? Okay.
Well, this one was like, I think an hour and a half. Hold on.
I think what happens, this film, it's 99 minutes. So it was literally just like probably an hour and 40 minutes, maybe the original one. And was my math wrong on that? 90 minutes is an hour and a half. So 99 minutes. It's closely to an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, maybe my mind was trying to go into the future by making this movie feel faster. Anyway, I'll give this movie. Also, what sucked is that there was an original song in the first film that kind of punched you in the gut at the ending credits. You could find it on YouTube. The original song in the film of Martyrs, the original one, was a song called it was by a band called Seppuku Paradigm. I think seppuku is when people... It's some Japanese thing.
When they kill themselves.
Right, and it's called Your Witness, the original song, and it's a very, like, sweet, somber song. And over the end credits, we see footage of Lucy and Anna as children, like footage around them in the orphanage. And it's like a very sad feeling. It's like, it's supposed to remind you of how happy these kids were before all this shit went down. I mean, Lucy was never happy, but at least it was some sort of spark into Lucy having some sort of happiness in her childhood before it all went even worse.
What a baby.
Anyway, I'll give this film a 4 out of 10. Boy, oh boy. There's a lot to go around with this film. Clearly, covering up the actor who was playing a 17-year-old kid as a dummy under the bed sheets because the actresses couldn't lift up his body, so it becomes half the size of a mannequin and falls down, and then it becomes the actual size actor.
I didn't even notice that.
That was horrible. I thought it was the little... I actually thought it was a daughter. That's how small that body was, but go ahead.
I'm going to give this movie a 5 out of 10. Giving some little kid a cookie as your child, thinking that you're going to be, this is a nice gesture, and not knowing that it will one day lead to, being trapped in a room and tortured and seeing your friends skinned and all these things. And
complicit in crimes. Also, I like the fact that she put a cookie on top of a dirty-ass surface like a merry-go-round. That's disgusting.
Yeah, but it was the 3-second rule.
Okay, fair enough. So with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Floss teeth.